Excellent. Okay. Well, let's see. Who do we have here? Tuhan. Hello, Tuhan. Now, where I live in Texas, it's all Vietnamese. So
Oh, see.
everyone around me is Vietnamese. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
You have a sense of Vietnam everywhere.
yeah. I just had a
So is
snack.
your wife a Vietnamese?
I just had a snack
Oh,
Oh, you had a chocolate.
from Vietnam.
That's great.
yeah.
So we have Vietnamese supermarkets, Vietnamese people. Everyone speaks
Yeah.
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese restaurant.
Yes, I can go to 4 different pho shops. But there's a problem. It's all Saigon pho, so it's a little sweet.
Okay, Mr. Michael Valentine, yeah, nice to meet you.
Yes.
This morning, Miss Chang, yeah, the lecturer of module operation and management, she will work with you in the morning session. I mean the Vietnamese time zone, of course. And I will work with you in the afternoon session. And now
Excellent.
I have class, so I will. Miss Chang will have the control with the class and support you. Yeah, nice to
Okay.
meet you. See you in the afternoon session. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you,
Sounds good.
Mr. Michael Valentine.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
Miss Chang.
So yeah. Michael, can you wait for 1 or 2 minutes for my students try to?
No. Yes. No problem. Although I thought they got there at 7:30 in the morning.
No, it's 8:01.
I know.
8:01. So they are late 1
It's normal.
maybe they have several problems, and I will ask them.
Yeah, they have problems getting out of bed. So does this is this Zoom session going to last the full 2 hours, or will it stop after 45 minutes?
No, they will stop in 2 hours.
Okay, so we'll take a break at 9 o'clock, just a 5-minute break, so people can
Yeah.
get a coffee or whatever. And we'll do that. But yeah, it looks like we have a few attending.
Hey, guys, say hello to Michael. Hey, students.
No, they won't. They're very quiet. So is the school open right now, or do you have to deal with the pandemic?
The COVID-19 pandemic is controlled in Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's at the normal
All right, that's good.
situation.
Yeah.
Is this okay in the US?
In Texas, no one cares. Just
Why?
because it's not a big deal here. And yeah, and people they want to be free. Okay. So I have these masks, right? And I buy them in Ho Chi Minh City. And I sell them in America. Yeah.
You sell the mask?
Yeah. But not in Texas now. We sell them everywhere in America, but not in Texas. People, they don't buy.
Yeah, they don't buy them.
So yeah, I have a nice little small business. I sell a couple of different things, but face masks we sold 300,000.
300,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, but not so much in the last couple months. It's gotten quiet.
Okay. Oh. Really? So,
Let me share my screen.
yeah.
There we go. All right, that's a little better. So if anyone has a question, go ahead and send it to me.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't need to raise your hand. Just say, hey, you have a question. I think I taught most of you last term. I think I taught this group. Too far. All right. So should we start or wait another couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, that was very typical Vietnamese. In English, if you say two-part question, then you have to answer one part or the other. But Vietnamese always just say yes. All right, well, let's get started because this is about soft skills and people will come in. The first thing I want to do is just show kind of a video. And I can introduce myself or we can do that as we go. Some of you may know I taught at the Banking Academy. My name's Michael Valentine, it says it on the screen. And I taught at the Banking Academy a couple of years ago, doing face-to-face and English training. I taught HR. I just taught it last fall. And I also taught management leadership. And there's this enormous HR thinking that we have to have soft skills. and so you have to have them, right? We need the hard skills. In other words, if you want to work as an accountant, well, you need the hard skills, how to do accounting. If you're going to work in, let's say, fashion, and you're going to sell in a retail shop, well, you might need some training on sales, okay? Or you might need some training on cotton, where it comes from, right? And we can talk about the Chinese and the Uyghurs if you want. But the idea is you've got to have some kind of grounding. We say grounding or hard skill in the industry you want to work. Look, if you want to work in a restaurant, well, you might need some training as a chef, because we need to understand the process. Soft skills, well, we use those everywhere, okay? And the problem is that at university, we don't teach soft skills, okay? And that's your problem, right? Because we teach hard skills, we teach knowledge, but how do you teach soft skills, right? So we can do some practice. That's how you teach soft skills, and we'll talk about other ways. But the idea is that if you don't have soft skills, you don't get the job. I mean, there are jobs where you don't need soft skills, okay? if you're really good in math and you work for an insurance company as, say, an actuary, you don't need any soft skills. All right. Because those people, they're not very friendly. But if you want to work anywhere where you meet the customer, right, you have to have some kind of soft skills. And now, teams. If you're going to work on a team, you have to have some soft skills. And the truth is, many of you do already. You have some skills. All right. We just need to make them bigger. All right. So let's get to that. So now in our slides, and I assume you have them, you've discovered I can't spell management. I fixed that. This is a short video about, okay, what are soft skills? And I use that because, you don't want to just listen to me the whole time, right? So I don't have them integrated. I apologize. But here we go. And let me bring the audio. Where's the audio? Share sound. There we go. Good manners and personality traits needed to get along with others and build positive relationships. Unlike hard skills, which include a person's technical skill set and ability to perform certain functional tasks, soft skills are broadly applicable across job titles and industries. It's often said that hard skills will get you an interview, but you need soft skills to get and keep the job. Having the technical skills and knowledge to successfully execute our job is only one part of being the best we can be in the workplace. In addition to these hard skills, we also need soft skills. No matter what our position, organization, or industry, we work with people. Taking the time to build effective soft skills can lead to a more efficient, more harmonious, and more productive workplace, as well as to our own overall job happiness and satisfaction. Soft skills encompass both innate personality traits, such as optimism, and abilities that can be practiced, such as empathy. Like all skills, soft skills can be learned. Soft skills are personal characteristics that allow us to effectively relate to others. Applying these skills helps us build stronger work relationships, work more productively, and maximize our career prospects. Often, we place the focus of our career development efforts on hard skills, technological skills, sector-specific training, and other skills that specifically relate to our
Michael, I can't see the video.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, I can see the video.
Oh. Yeah, okay. My bad. New share. Yeah, I had this working better than. Okay, so let's just
and build positive relationships.
Better?
Unlike hard skills, which include a person's technical skill set and ability to perform certain functional tasks, soft skills are broadly applicable across job titles and industries. It's often said that hard skills will get you an interview, but you need soft skills to get and keep the job. Having the technical skills and knowledge to successfully execute our job duties is only one part of being the best we can be in the workplace. In addition to these hard skills, we also need soft skills. No matter what our position, organization, or industry, we work with people. Taking the time to build effective soft skills can lead to a more efficient, more harmonious, and more productive workplace, as well as to our own overall job happiness and satisfaction. Soft skills encompass both innate personality traits, such as optimism, and abilities that can be practiced, such as empathy. Like all skills, soft skills can be learned. Soft skills are personal characteristics that allow us to effectively relate to others. Applying these skills helps us build stronger work relationships, work more productively, and maximize our career prospects. Often, we place the focus of our career development efforts on hard skills, technological skills, sector-specific training, and other skills that specifically relate to our ability to get work-related tasks done. Unfortunately, development of this kind often happens at the expense of our soft skills. This is unfortunate because, unlike the sector-specific training, soft skills are directly transferable to any job, organization, or industry. You will need them wherever you go. They are an investment worth making. Soft skills aren't just about business or building careers. They are about life and living. If you want to learn more about soft skills development, contact us. John K. Whitehead and Associates.
Okay, so let's move back to our slides. So I'll try and pay attention to that. Now, their whole premise, and it's the one we live with. Why don't I see my screen? Okay. The whole premise is we have to have soft skills. 20 years ago, if you were a computer geek, IT person, whatever, okay, you didn't need soft skills.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So when we talk about these soft skills, we need them now because we're doing things virtually. We're doing things on Zoom. Okay. And so now soft skills become even more important. You have to be able to look at people and understand what they're thinking on Zoom. It's not easy. Okay. So we have these, what we call different schools of thought. And let me just kind of move this around a little bit. Working on the laptop's a little more difficult. So we have one school that thinks that we can train people with soft skills. And because these skills are fundamental, right? We can all learn them. We identify your weaknesses or deficits or wherever you need help, and then we send you to school or we provide training, okay? And that's what a lot of companies do. The problem is not everybody can learn a soft skill. There are people who just can't, right? And so the second school of thought, which is one I kind of subscribe to, is that, well, when someone has a skill, we train them to make it better. And instead of trying to train them in a skill they don't have, well, we hire someone on the team who has that skill. All right. And so we're looking at a multidisciplinary approach instead of everybody learning the same skills. There are people who don't like to talk, right? We call them introverts. So now we send them to school to learn to be extroverts.
Yeah.
It's really stressful. Okay. Yeah. Just think about it. You're going to school to learn to be something you are not.
Really?
And your brain explodes. Okay. Why would you want to do that? So if we've got someone who's an introvert, but they are really good at something else, well, then we bring someone on the team who is an extrovert and we compensate. We balance our people instead of trying to make our people all the same. And the problem is when you try to make people all the same, people quit. All right. So we invest the money and they don't like what they're doing and they quit. Instead, we could just hire someone else who can do that work and let you do what you're good at. And that's called promoting excellence. All right. Your really big companies know this. And that's how they hire. All right. So as I said, if we try to train introverts to be extroverts, it's super stressful. Your head really explodes. Okay. You have to change your daily habits. Come on. How many of you, well, you're not old enough yet, but when you're old like me, every January, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stop eating my choco pie and I'm going to eat something healthy. And it lasts about 3 weeks. Okay. We can't change who we are. Okay. And then we want the staffer to change their behavior at work, integrate into a new role. Well, come on, that's like acting, you know, you're gonna be an actor now. So how much should the company invest in retraining? That's a good question. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking an introvert and giving them a class on how to express themselves. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to change the person. And in this case, I think we just need to hire the right people to work together. And, you know, if you took HR, we talked about testing to do that. I know all of you can learn soft skills. All of you can. Okay. And you can all learn how to do something. You know, I learned how to use a sewing machine a couple months ago. And I can use a sewing machine. It's awful. I'm terrible. Okay. So it's not my talent. All right. And so, yes, we can all learn to do something, but we could end up just being mediocre at it. Right. And we want to do stuff we're good at. So let's not focus on learning how to do things we're not good at. All right. So if you have a weakness, accept it. Get better in where you're strong. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, right? So successful companies understand that personality is difficult to change. All right. I can't change. All right. You know, give me all the training you want. It's not going to change who I am. All right. It just doesn't work. All right. And people, you know, managers have this thing. They're a little bit crazy. They hire people that are like them. Right. So you guys all saw Austin Powers with me and mini me, right? Get this little mini me running around, you know. It doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that? That's just silliness. Okay. But managers often do that, particularly if they're the sales type of manager. All right. And wow, I'm getting these red lines. Cool. So when we form a team, you know, HR is looking for a variety of personalities, right? To get the team to balance. All right. Because you've already invested money in different people. And now you need a team. And you have to find a balance, a way that they work together. Because let me tell you, if we all have the same thinking and we're all going down the same street, we get tunnel vision, right? We can't see what's left or right. We're just focused on that. And that's why they talk about diversity, right? You know, on the one hand, they say, oh, we need diversity. And then they say, no, we need to have you all, everybody has to have the same soft skills. What about diversity? Where does that work into? Oh, no, don't worry about diversity. We got diversity. No. Okay. And that's part of where soft skills come in. All right. So we have here's a list of soft skills. And obviously you have to be able to do some of this. Okay. And maybe you're good at it, maybe you're not. All right. So working as a team player. All right. I can work as a team player. I get frustrated when people don't do their work. Okay. And that's one of the challenges of a team. You know, you got some lazy people, some hyperactive people. You got other people who say, hey, just, you know, go a little slower. You know, there are different kind of people in a team. And so you have to learn to work with it. All right. You know, we talk about this thing called flexibility, right? Okay, that's my middle name. I'm Mr. Flexible. Okay. You want me to do this? Fine. I'll do it. You want me to do that? Fine, I'll do that. You want me to switch to this? Fine, I'll do that. Yeah, whatever you want, no problem. So I am a very flexible person, unless we get to some specific issues. And then we have what we call red lines. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that, right? And so, okay, we're back. I lost you all, but hey, we're good? Okay. So flexibility is one of those issues where if you're going to work on a team successfully, you have to become flexible, right? And we'll talk some more about that. Effective communication, well, that's kind of obvious, right? You're going to be communicating with people. Problem solving and resourcefulness, that's going to take a little more discussion, okay? Because that gets into critical thinking. I know that you can learn to critically think, but is that something you do? So we'll talk about that. Accepting feedback. The truth is Vietnamese are great at accepting feedback. It's amazing. You can say almost anything to Vietnamese people and they take it. So that's not a soft skill you need to learn. We'll come back, we'll talk about it some more. Confidence. That's something 90% of you need to work on. You don't have confidence. And we'll talk about how you get confidence, but it comes from experience. And the more experienced you are, the more confident you are. Okay. So we'll talk about that because a lot of you in your high school, environments and growing up, a lot of you just focused on studying. That's your parents' fault. Okay. Some of you played sports, some of you did other extracurricular things, but you didn't have an opportunity to build confidence. All right. And it's not always natural. And then finally, creative thinking. All right. Now, if you're not good at it, yeah.
Hi, Michael. Could you please give me the right host of this room?
Sure.
Give me the host.
Yeah. Go ahead. How do I do that?
You just click on my account and more and make me host.
And you are the host.
Yes, I'm the host. Thank you.
No problem. So, yeah, so acting as a team player. I like the word acting. Acting it's the right word because you don't have experience. How can you be a team player unless you're out there being a team player? You want to go to an interview and you say, to the HR person, "Oh, I'm a team player." And the HR person says, "Give me some examples of when you were a team player." And you say, "Well, I work on Zoom with my fellow students." Okay. You have to have something tangible, right? So you play on a football team. Wow. Okay. We're getting there. You play on a volleyball team. Okay. You play badminton. No. Okay. It's not a team sport, right? And you might have doubles. You might play doubles in tennis. Okay. But that's not what we're thinking, right? We're thinking a big team. And so you need to go out and you need to do team activities. And then the school has them, right? I mean, you could do that at the banking game. You can play on the football team. You can play on a volleyball team. You can do the theater production, right? You guys, what, 3 or 4 times a year, you got some kind of stage production, all right? You can work in a fast food restaurant. I did say that. Okay, KFC, right? If you work in a fast food enterprise like KFC or McDonald's or here we have Whataburger, you're going to get an opportunity to work on a team. And you're going to see how teams work. All right. And that's something you can go to an HR person and say, yeah, I got lots of team experience. I worked part-time at KFC for a year. Okay. I'll buy into that. Right. You've got some team. The other thing we have in America, we call it the Scouts. It's kind of like the Young Pioneers in Vietnam. And some of you belong to those kind of affiliated groups. You're getting team experience. Now, you may not be able to tell people what you do, okay? That's a different issue. But, and so not everybody may support your activity, right? Okay, whatever. But showing that you've done team activities is how we act as a team player. That's how we learn the soft skills. All right. So playing in a music band, right? Just do something with other people besides go to a coffee shop. It's not a team activity, right? I go to the coffee shop every day. No. I do Facebook and social media. No, right? It's not a team activity. So think about that. Now, what is good teamwork? You go along to get along. We can't be fighting on our teams. And sometimes we have to go along to get along with our team. We may not agree, but yeah, we have to do that. So let's see if I can find this. New share, and I kind of hate this. Is this gonna work? Maybe not. Let's first share the sound. Go on.
While collaboration is more than just working together, the skills involved in successful teamwork are important to successful collaboration. It's important to be a good team player. Every organization's success relies on effective teams, and modern teams are often made up of a diverse mix of individuals and circumstances. They may be cross-functional or multidisciplinary. They may be co-located or collaborate remotely. They may be made up of familiar coworkers or complete strangers. There may be cultural or language barriers to overcome in order to work together successfully. But regardless of the team situation, the basic principles of being a good team member apply. In almost everything you read about being a good team member, there are the same lists of basic qualities, such as being honest, fair, respectful, reliable, responsible, and a good communicator. But there's more to being an outstanding team member, qualities that don't always get the proper attention. A good work team member shows genuine commitment. There's a tangible difference between someone who shows up to work on a team and someone who is genuinely committed to the team's goals. If you're committed, you're in the office when needed, and you make sure that your seat time is worth it by contributing as much as possible while you're there. The best team members get involved. It does not serve you well to just sit quietly and do your work in a silo. Don't stay in the shadows. Instead, get involved with your team. If you don't know something, find out by asking team members questions. Strong team players come to their teammates prepared with their questions and ideas clearly thought through. Solid team members need to be transparent. Sharing opinions and ideas is important as long as they don't actually belong to someone else. You don't have to take credit for everything. In fact, giving credit for ideas you're sharing earns you respect and trust. As an outstanding team worker, you must be ready to help, even if it's not in your job description. Be generous with pointers or tips to help your team members. For example, if a member is experiencing frustration when using a new technology that you're experienced with, offer your help and share what you know. Along those lines, successful team members work to be problem solvers, not problem makers. Help resolve problems even if they aren't directly yours. If a teammate is stuck with a problem she's working on, Take the initiative and try to solve it or at least help. This earns you respect and is sure to come back at you someday in a positive way. When you have a problem in the future, it may be you on the receiving end, especially if people remember how you've given of your time before. And as a good teammate, recognize and acknowledge when you're wrong. The point is to work hard and be good at what you do, not try to be right all the time. Being stubborn is not a quality of a good team player. Team members respect you when you admit you're wrong, or when you back off an idea when it's clear it's not the right path. If you strongly believe that your team is making a mistake, you can usually find a way to come back to the issue when the time is right. And if it happens that you were correct, accept it gracefully. These, of course, are hardly the only characteristics of good team members, but they provide a solid starting point for successful collaboration. They are a blueprint for beginning the work of successfully working together with others.
All right, so let's come back to our slides here for a second. Now, we just saw a video about teams. That person has no idea what they're talking about. I'm sorry. Look, you've got different personalities on a team. And people are going to be stubborn. It's just normal. In fact, what they don't talk about is the difference between men and women on a team. You can't just assume that the team is going to work because you have, let's say, 4 people, 2 men and 2 women. You got all kinds of gender issues you got to go through as well, which in America, we don't talk about gender anymore because people are men and women, and today they're a man, today tomorrow they're a woman. I don't know. And we certainly can't say, well, it's because this person is doing it. We don't want to do that. So it's almost going along to get along. But you don't accomplish anything. The company's paying you to get something done. And if all the team comes in and says, oh, I think this is a great, oh, yes, this is good. Yes, I agree. You don't get anything done. We don't need you, right? So teams have to be more proactive than what this person's talking about. It's a nightmare. It's unsuccessful, okay? The best ideas come from conflict. Because in conflict, we look at all the details. If everybody agrees, there's a problem. Think about that. If everybody's like, yeah, good job, yeah, okay, we agree, yeah, you're missing something, okay? And so when we talk about being a good team, you have to be an effective team. You can't just say, oh, I don't want to trigger someone. Oh, I don't want to upset them. Oh, they might not like me. You're not getting paid to be liked. You're getting paid to do a job. Sure, we want to like people. We don't have to, right? So keep that in mind. If you're going to be successful, then you have to do something effective. Otherwise, you're just taking up space. So think about that. Now, this whole flexibility thing, right? It's a bit more challenging because it comes to personality, right? If you're not a flexible person, it's not your personality. It's difficult to do, right? So total flexibility means you stand for nothing. Cha-ding! I don't believe anything. I'm Mr. Flexible. What do you need me to do? And at work, that's actually the kind of person I am because I'm paid to do a job. I'm not paid to do what I think, right? I'm paid to do what the company thinks. So a lot of times, sure, no problem. What do you want me to do? You want me to go kill babies? No. Okay, I do have a line, right? But you know, the company's paying you. You're not a slave, but they are paying you for your time and they expect you to do things. So we need to be flexible for that. Inflexibility means you cannot adjust your views to other people. And there are people like that, okay? In America, we call them progressives. Okay. But yeah, there are people that are so focused, they know it, and they have tunnel vision. They cannot see left or right. And it doesn't matter what you say, they're always going to say no. Right. So you need to find that balance, and you need to have some flexibility. Okay. Even if it challenges what you believe. Okay. You have to be a little flexible. And so you need to balance, okay, society, you need to balance the rules in the company, and what you need to do to complete the project. Okay. So if you need to go steal to complete the project, that might be a little too flexible. And you have to go back to the company and say, what do you want me to do here? And the boss may say, I want you to go steal that information from that company. Okay. And we got some moral and ethical dilemmas. And that's the problem with flexibility. You're going to get some moral and ethical dilemmas. Can you cheat a customer? Maybe. Right? What do you have to do to keep your job? Right? Can you lie to a customer? Everybody lies to customers, okay? So you have to take these moments and then say, okay, how flexible do I need to be? And my flexibility stops at slavery, okay? When a company treats its employees like slaves, that's where I draw the line. I'm not that flexible, okay? Don't believe in it. I'm not going to participate in it. Goodbye. And that's why I quit Singapore International School. They treated their Vietnamese people awfully, terribly, like slaves. So I left. Now, then we get into your personality. You should do a personality test. What are you like? More this or more that? And we do that in HR. So we have what we call our alphas and deltas. Okay. And they are inflexible. Your alpha is your leader, right? And your leader has to be stubborn. Your leader has to stay on target. They're not very flexible people. Your deltas, those are the people who follow the rules, right? Class starts at 7:30. They are sitting there at 7:30, probably early, okay? The teacher says, put away your smartphone. They got that phone in the bag, turned off, never going to open it, right? And that's your deltas, okay? They're not your leaders. They follow the rules. Leaders break rules, okay? Yeah. But then we have everyone else, which we call the betas, which are your salespeople, right? And they're talkative, just like your teachers, right? And then your gammas, and then this is just about everybody else. And most people are gammas. Most people do their job, they get their salary, and they have plans and they do things, and they're just cool about it all, right? They're not triggered easily, right? Deltas are triggered, boom, just like that. They get all upset and angry, and because somebody, whatever, they don't like it when people break rules, right? This is me driving a motorbike, right? I'm a delta on a motorbike. Anyway, we have to look at that flexibility as a personality issue as well. And you have to judge how flexible you can be. Now, we talked about these types of personalities, right? So your alphas, and it comes from the Greek alphabet, right? So the alphas are our leaders and managers, right? So you already know that your manager is going to be inflexible for some things. He's got a budget, got to stay in the budget. I've got, a target. I want to get my bonus, right? And so the manager is then a little inflexible about things because they're not going to give up their bonus. You want me to give up my bonus? Are you kidding me? Right? So the manager is going to have some flexibility issues. Your salespeople, they'll tell you anything. They're flexible people. Whatever you want, sure, we can do it. Very easy to work with, very easy to talk to. And these are the people we like, right? We like these people. The Gammas, they're hard workers, right? And you see this in Vietnamese society a lot. I would say I find more women who are Gammas because they're fulfilling a societal role of expectation. Okay. They don't want to be, they're betas screaming to come out. But they're trying to fulfill a role, either because their parents say this, or maybe their spouse is more traditional, right? And so you have to kind of look at that a little bit. My wife's not a Gamma. She's a beta who wants to be an alpha. Okay, that's my wife. And then we have the deltas, which are the bureaucrats. People work for the government, the rule followers. These are the police. Okay, and they break rules that they choose to break, like corruption. Okay, but in general, they're really big about following the rules. You have to sign this paper. You have to fill this out. You know, and they're great in offices because they get the documents done. You give paperwork to betas and forget it. It's never going to happen. Okay. They're just going to be like, well, I was talking. Yeah. Right. Whereas a Delta, they're like, don't bother me. I'm doing paperwork. Leave me alone. Right. Let me finish this first. And you're going to meet those kinds of people. And we need them. We need all kinds of people to make it work. Okay. And that's what I mean. We can't just hire people with the same skill set. We end up with mediocrity. Okay. So now the next one, I kind of like this one. Effective communication. That's a tough one. Look, if you speak in Vietnamese, it's too direct, but you've got good communication, right? Because every one of my students will say, hey, Michael, you're fat. That's nice, thank you. I needed to hear that, right? Yeah, so Vietnamese are very direct, and it can be effective, right? And then we have English, where, you know, we kind of go around and you have to read between the lines and you have to kind of guess at what somebody's saying, and then you don't know the words, and it gets really, really difficult. Yeah, that's English. So yeah, we all speak in Chinese, right? It is a challenge when you have to communicate in English, because one person understands this and another person understands that. Even people who speak English don't understand each other. It's a problem. To communicate, then we use email, which I like to use. I like to put in an email because then someone can read it. If they don't understand it, they can go online, see, okay, what does he mean? And it's in written form, so it doesn't like fly away, right? So if we talk and you forget, and I'm angry because you forgot, so I always send an email to clarify, and you should too. Text messages are nice. The last 2 weeks I've been Mr. Twitter, tweeting. Oh my God. They're short and abrupt, and they don't really provide context. And in English, we need context. Okay. Social media, you guys are experts. Face-to-face, Instagram, Facebook. You guys are using the smartphones. You're having those Zoom meetings. You're getting all these conversations going. I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time developing those skills because you're doing it all day, right? And so an email is something you're not doing all day. So you need to practice emails because there's a format. There's a polite format and there's a rude format, okay? And I try to be polite in emails. I don't have to, but I try. So then we get the body language, right? And so Vietnamese aren't very good with body language culturally, right? You keep that face, you know, don't give away. When Vietnamese are nervous, they laugh, okay? Especially if something's gone wrong, they kind of like, you know, like Kamala Harris does. And so you have to look at your body language. You almost have to practice using your face a little bit. Give it away. Because this is very good in negotiations. Because people try and read what you're thinking, and you have to learn to fake them out. Okay, so we have hand motion, right? I use hands. I'm Italian, right? Right, got my hand motions going. Eye rolling, right? When you roll your eyes, okay, because you don't like something, that's a Western habit, and it's very visible. Okay, when you roll your eyes, you know, like when Donald Trump starts saying they stole the election, and everybody rolls their eyes. Okay, yeah, because they don't agree with what someone's saying, but they're not going to interrupt, so they roll their eyes, and then the other person knows that no, I'm not buying it. Facial muscles, right? So Vietnamese are very good at controlling that. And that's a problem because it doesn't give cues to Westerners about what you're thinking. And Westerners are desperate. We're looking at faces. Oh my gosh, I need to see some cues, right? I can't get it. And then of course, eye contact, right? You know, get that eye contact, right? I've got my glasses, it's a little harder to do that, but you need to give direct eye contact unless we're talking to the Japanese, and it's very rude, right? So these are kind of soft skills you learn. You have to learn how to talk to someone who's Japanese, right? We just don't look at them, you know. And that's incredibly impolite in Vietnam, right? You know, just don't look at them, right? And you know, talk to the air. In Vietnamese culture, that would be rude, but for Japanese, that's what we have to do. For an American, you better look them in the eye, or they're going to hit you. Okay, you don't look people in the eye; they're just going to mow you down, right? So we have to do that. So that's body language, and that's a soft skill, right? And that's one you can learn and practice together. Okay. Well, get a Westerner and practice with a Westerner, right? Because this is much easier. Weave the conversation, and that's something I'm trying to teach my son. Okay, it's a salesman's trick. And what you do is you weave the conversation by putting in personal information and mixing it with the business information to then get the other person to give you information. And with Vietnamese, I can do this after 1 or 2 meetings and very effective. With the Chinese, no, they're just not going to give it away. All right. Westerners love this if you can weave the conversation because it personalizes it. It brings in a little bit of emotion. And then it kind of leads the other person to where you want to go. So you have to learn to weave the conversation. And that's a soft skill for effective communication. That's one of my talents. Okay. I'm flexible. I've got good effective communication. However, I'm not a very tolerant, empathetic person. Okay. So, you know, you come to me and say, teacher, I need some help. And I say, so what? Right? Stand in line, right? Everybody needs help. So I'm not as empathetic as I need to be, but I'm effective as a communicator. Now, I got a short video. We're just going to watch part of it because I want you to see how 2 English speakers don't understand each other. And so we're just going to watch a few minutes of it. You may want to watch the rest of it later, but it's important for you to see that even though we speak the same language, we just don't communicate. Where are we? Okay, all right. I gotta get this just a second. Figure this out. Get it up and running. There we go. Now share. New share. There we go. All right. So you should be able to see our two gentlemen. And this is a little dated. It's funny. Let's see what they say.
4 candles.
4 candles. Here you are. 4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks. Got any plugs?
Plugs?
Yeah.
What kind of plugs?
A rubber one, bathroom.
What size?
13 amp.
It's electric plugs, electric bathroom plugs, you call them. The trade, electric bathroom. Right.
So we'll stop here because you guys can watch it later. It is funny. But the problem is there's no context, right? In other words, if we don't have context, we can't understand each other. And so he asked for a plug for a bathroom. Well, that's what you put in the sink or the bathtub to stop the water. If you want an electric plug, you have to say electric. Right? We need the context. Yes, they're both plugs. Okay. And so when you're working on a team, if you're not giving context, you're not going to be an effective communicator. Now, I know it's simpler in Vietnamese. You only have one word, and everybody knows that word. But in English, we have 500,000 words, and you've got to put context. And that's why we don't communicate very well in English. All right. Now, this problem-solving thing, we call resourcefulness. It's critical thinking. And I don't know if you took a class in critical thinking. Look, most people don't do it. We just don't. Why would we? In other words, we're not going to question everything all the time. And critical thinking is about asking questions, right? And so if someone says to you, hey, you know, we had this global warming thing and we're all going to die in 10 years. Right? We're all going to die in 10 years. Well, now I'm going to do some critical thinking, like, what are they talking about, right? What do they mean we're all going to die, right? And so, okay, there are obvious things where maybe you start to do some critical thinking, or you say, oh my God, you're right, we're all going to die. No, all right? So critical thinking is what the company wants you to do. They want you to go out, to look at something, and come back with a plan. And if you didn't do any critical thinking, it's going to be obvious. All right, you missed some key points. Okay. You know, you go and you buy a new refrigerator, one of those really nice Sub-Zeros, cost $10,000. And you go to bring it into your Vietnamese kitchen, and it's bigger than the kitchen. Somebody wasn't doing some critical thinking. All right. And that's what we have, and that sounds hilarious, but it's true, right? Because most people do not engage in critical thinking. We listen to the TV. We listen to other people, and they tell us something, and we accept it. Sure, right? I mean, come on. Anderson Cooper says there was no election fraud. He said it. Anderson Cooper said it. Rachel Maddow said it. There was fraud everywhere. Okay, and this guy is saying no fraud. All right, so let's take a 5-minute break. It's 9 o'clock, and we'll come back to this, and we'll talk a little bit more about the whole concept of critical thinking, but we can't do a class just on critical thinking right now. Okay, so let's take a break, and like I said, we'll come back in 5 minutes. How's that? Cool? Let me put this up here on the chat. Chat. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes, right? Coffee time. And there we are. And I'll be right back. Cool flower. So does anyone have any questions while we're on the short break that you want to give me? Just put it in the chat and I'll answer it. Some of you may wonder how things are here. A lot of kids are going to school on Zoom. That's how they go to school now. That's supposed to change, but there still are a lot of kids on Zoom. And then in the classrooms, you know, they have to have 3 feet now. It was 6 feet. That's 3 feet is like a meter, 6 feet is like 2 meters. And so they have to have this social distancing and masks and wash their hands. It's a bit crazy. You know how it is in in a Vietnam school. Not washing the hands so much, but you can't learn. I mean, Zoom is great. Zoom is a wonderful tool that we use, but my son was trying to learn math on Zoom. It's not working. All right. So my wife spends 3 hours a day teaching my son math because he can't learn it on Zoom. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Any questions? A couple minutes yet. The picture behind me, that's called the Alamo. And it's a very big thing in Texas. We celebrate it because back in 1840, 300 Texans were fighting Civil War, I guess you call it, with Mexico. And the Mexicans had 10,000 men and the Texans had 300. And it wasn't like the movie, the 300 in the movie. In this case, all the Texans died. Okay, the Mexicans killed them all, which is an interesting story by itself. So it's a symbol that, even though we died, we lost the battle, we won the war. And I think that's important for people to remember. In business, you're going to take some losses. You're going to lose contracts. You're going to lose money, right? But that doesn't mean you're going to lose the war. So you keep trying, keep pushing. And that's where that manager leader stubbornness comes in, right? We talked about. So the Alamo is a good allegory for that. I like the Alamo because there were 28 or 30 Anglos there. Anglos are like me. And 2 of them were named Ballantyne. And it's an unusual name to begin with. And then to have 2 of them fight at the Alamo and die. Kind of something to think about. Maybe I'm fighting my own Alamo here. Great. So let's come back. We'll talk a little bit. Let people wander in with their coffees. Did someone bring me an iced coffee? And so shoot me your questions as you have them. Let me just get rid of that. All right. So we know, I don't like my screen here. This warning message. Put that down. There we go. That's the best I can do. All right. So we know that most people do not do critical thinking because it calls into question what they believe, right? And you do not learn critical thinking in high school because they don't want you to question the society, right? So it's a problem. If everyone is engaging in critical thinking, you almost end up with chaos, all right? So we need people to accept what we're told to a point, because otherwise we just get chaos. But sometimes when people lie to you and you know they're lying, well, of course you engage in critical thinking. Why are they lying? What lies are they telling me? Do they have an objective, right? In other words, we have to find ways to overcome the lies and find out what's really true. Now, the New York Times had an article, and I've given you the link. And the articles basically don't go down the rabbit hole, which means if you question the narrative and you engage in critical thinking, you're going to be unhappy. All right? Imagine that. Okay. So the New York Times was talking about fraud, the election fraud, and if you go looking for it, you might find it. And if you find it, you're not going to be happy. I find it, we'll use the word incredulous. Okay, and let me put that on the chat. So this is somebody writing, okay, and they are telling me as a writer to not question what people are saying. To me, that's incredulous. It's unbelievable for me to like stop critical thinking and just say, yes, of course, you're right. I want to be happy. Are you kidding me? Right? So as an educator, this is nuts. Now, there might be some rabbit holes we don't want to go down. Okay, that's a fair statement. And so if you're happy, don't study Nietzsche. Right? You guys know Nietzsche? I'm not sure I can spell it correctly. Nietzsche. Why am I getting these Vietnamese things going on here? That's kind of new for me. Okay. So Nietzsche, there we go. Nietzsche. Nietzsche is this German philosopher. And if you are happy, don't read Nietzsche, okay? Because you're just going to become unhappy. And it's just because of his view of the world, okay? And people that read Nietzsche and study Nietzsche are very depressed, okay? Because they're like, oh my God, the world is not what I thought, and we're all going to die, and there's no point. And so Nietzsche can be difficult. So you have to prepare yourself before you go read Nietzsche. Read some other people first. The other rabbit hole we don't want to go down is my father my father? Okay. And that's one that people question, right? Is he really my father? Okay. And that's a rabbit hole again because of family connections and relationships. I mean, the one time I asked my mother, is my father my father? I thought she was going, her head exploded. I thought, you know, I just killed the next door neighbor's baby or something. Okay. So those, sometimes we don't want to go down those rabbit holes, and that's fair. But those should be rare, unusual, completely out there, okay? And so, you know, the fun one is, okay, the earth is flat. And so we go down that rabbit hole. Okay, the earth is flat. It's not round, it's flat. And there are things you can prove the earth is round. And there are things you can prove the earth is flat. And so you can go down that rabbit hole. It's kind of fun. But if you do not engage in critical thinking, let me put Nietzsche up here, Nietzsche. If you do not engage in critical thinking at work, you will not be effective. You will miss things that can cost a lot of money. And when it costs a company a lot of money, well, the manager looks for someone to blame, right? And that's you, okay? So we have to be careful about critical thinking. Now, accepting feedback or constructive criticism. And like I said, you know, most Vietnamese, the culture, the character accepts feedback, right? You may not like it, all right, but people know how to take it. And then we get into, okay, different ethnicities, right? So when we deal with, say, an Indian customer, Indians are not real good at accepting feedback. They may get angry. Other ethnicities can get violent. Okay. So we have to think a little bit who we're talking to. And gender, right? You say one thing to a guy, the guy's like, yeah, no problem, okay. And then you say one thing to a girl and she's like crying, okay? Or she gets really angry, right? And so you have to be careful how you speak to different genders. And of course, culture is an issue. Some people are religious. Let's say you have someone who's Muslim, right? And you say, hey, you know, I was really unhappy because you didn't come to the restaurant with us. And the Muslim person would say, well, I couldn't eat the food and you guys were drinking alcohol. So there are some cultural issues here we have to consider as well when we talk about feedback and criticism. Now, we also have to think, where in the company are we? What's the rank or the hierarchy, right? Am I talking to an equal? Am I talking to a boss? Am I talking to a subordinate? And you have to, we say tailor, okay, but adjust what we say based on rank and hierarchy. Because if my boss is yelling at me, I'm just going to sit there and take it. Okay, I'm sorry, right? And if my worker is yelling at me, well, maybe I'm just going to stomp on him or her. Hey, who do you think you are? You're fired, right? So we have to think about this. You know, a good example of someone who cannot take any criticism is Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump, it was Donald Trump's way or the highway. There was no criticism accepted. And if you criticize Donald Trump, he fired you. You're fired. Right? He's really good at that. So we have to think about that, who we're talking to and how we say it. Customer feedback and surveys are a great way if you've got someone difficult to then help them understand where they need improvement. Okay. And you can say, look, hey, you know, you're doing a great job, but, you know, we're getting these facts and, you know, people are saying that, you know, maybe you're just a little inflexible. And then it's not me saying you're inflexible, it's the customer. And so our customer can help us give feedback. Now, one of the biggest challenges for someone like me is that, well, I'm old, okay? And when you're younger, how do you tell old people they're crazy, right? How do you do that? And so you as Z generation, you guys are Z generation now, the millennials are past. How do you give feedback to grandfather? Right? It's not easy. And so you have to learn how to do that. We do have a video, but I'm not going to show it. You guys can watch it on your free time. It talks about constructive criticism and accepting feedback. And as I said before, because you're Vietnamese, you have a certain willingness that other cultures don't to accept feedback. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Can you give it? Well, again, we get into this rank, hierarchy, age, gender, you know, there are all those other issues going on in giving feedback. Taking it, yeah, you can do that. But you have to learn to overcome some of your inhibitions, right? Your social character to then give feedback. All right, so let's see what the next one. Confidence. Yeah. Okay, you guys don't have confidence. You don't have experience. That's normal. So we have a saying in English, we fake it until you make it. So, you know, customers say, hey, can you do this for me? And the first thing you say is, no, we don't have the ability. No, don't say that. Of course we can make it for you. Of course we can do this. And then you go back to the office, you say, please tell me how we can do it, right? Because we fake it until you make it. And so we don't allow people to see doubt. Now, Vietnamese are good at that. You know, the face gone thing, you know, very structured, and maybe the eyes give you away a little bit, but yeah, we don't allow people to see doubt. We can do it, right? And there's no question. All of us can do it. And so that's a positive response to our challenges. And that's confidence. And maybe you have to fake it. Maybe you have to act. Maybe you have to pretend. But you must show confidence. Because I'm the guy who knows you're not confident, and I'm going to run you over. Right? I'm going to take your business. I'm going to steal your customers because I know you're not confident. Okay, so we can't allow people to see that. Look, you go home, drop it, be unconfident, be miserable, whatever. But at work, you are Mr. and Mrs. Confident. You're always confident. You've got that can-do attitude. No problem exists without a solution. And that's actually American way of thinking, right? There are no problems that we cannot solve. That is the American way. We are super confident, right? It gets us in trouble, all right? We're too confident, all right? So, you know, Joe Biden, you just let Putin come. I'll beat Putin up. I'll take him out behind the high school gym and I'll smack him. You know, that's Joe Biden. Oh my gosh. The guy can't even walk up the stairs. He's going to take on Putin. Good luck with that. He's too confident. All right. And that's our problem in America. We're too confident. But we're successful. Think about that. Now, so we get into this final thing, creative thinking. I would like to say that I'm a creative thinker. I'm not. I'm good at taking someone's idea and twisting it, making it better. But I didn't get the original idea. I took someone else's idea and made my own idea. Okay. So these are ugly. So when in my business, right, we're making face masks. And number one, they were white. And I was like, no, we need black. And it took me a month to get black. But okay, I got black. And then I said, okay, now I need something on the black in order to sell it. Okay. And some might say this is creative thinking, but I'm just adapting, right? I'm just adapting. And so then I get to, you know, these face masks. Okay. I want to sell them with printed pictures. I'm just adapting. There is some creativity into it, but it is not that challenging, right? I'm trying to sell to every market. All right. And so we need people like me, and we also need creative thinkers. Okay. A creative thinker is, okay, let's put one of those special filters into the mask. Okay. Now that's creative thinking, right? Because I'm not there. Okay. I put something on the mask, but I haven't gotten to the filters. I haven't gotten to the inserts or, you know, whatever else you can do with masks. Not everyone is an idea person, right? Because we need people to do the work. And so if we're all creative thinkers, oh my gosh, it's chaos. Okay. We have to have some creative thinkers, and then we have to have people like me that tweak it. All right. And so I'm really good at tweaking things, making it a little better, seeing this, and that's critical thinking. So I put my critical thinking cap on and I make improvements or tweaks or, you know, change it for this market. And that's what we need. Okay. When we talk about creative thinking, if you're just going to be the creative thinker, that's all you're going to do. You're not going to be adding you're going to be doing something new, right? And that's a very small segment of what we're talking about. One of the things that people forget is they need to stay silent when you don't have an idea. Don't just listen to yourself speak. Okay? Let the ideas come out. Okay? What kind of embroidery, sorry, are we going to put on our mask? And you don't have an idea. And so you wait and listen to what other people say. And maybe you'll get an idea, or maybe you'll just agree. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. When my wife first showed this to me, I thought, oh, that's ugly. No one will buy it. People loved it. Okay. What do I know? So we wait until the team, comes together, coalesces on an idea, and then you can bring in your support. Okay. So creative thinking is not, okay, I'm the first person with an idea. No, it's much bigger than that. Okay. And maybe you don't feel comfortable giving new ideas. So, okay, let's stick with things you know, things you understand, things you're confident with. Okay. And then you can add your support. All right. So keep that in mind when we say creative thinking. We're not talking about some kind of brain person who magically comes up with Harry Potter ideas. All right. That's real creative thinking, but it's not necessary for business. And we'll go to lead. If you don't have the manager soft skills, you're not going to make it as a leader. Let's understand that. So the manager soft skills form a foundation for leadership. Okay. And let's not confuse the two. Okay. Because the role of a leader is different than the role of a manager, right? You guys have learned that, I hope. And so leaders, we need leaders, but we can't have 100 leaders, right? We have to have a few leaders, and they have to have some soft skills. So let's take a look at those soft skills. Listening, right? That's like the generic one. Everybody says it. To be a good leader, you have to be a good listener, right? Okay, we got that. Empathy, right? And that's one of my failings. Okay, I'm not very empathetic. All right, and so that is something I should find someone to work with me who's empathetic. Emotional intelligence. If you are woke, if you are part of the cancel culture, if you are politically correct, this is very important. All right. And right now, I think people are too emotionally intelligent. In other words, they are so focused on emotions that they're forgetting reality. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We come back to creativity, which we just discussed, and service mindedness. And this is one I like. Okay, and so let's as Jen Psaki says, circle back to that. All right. So the first rule of leadership is that you rarely get to pick your followers, right? Come on, you're going to be a leader and you say, no, I don't like these people. I want those people. I want to be that leader. You don't get to pick your followers, right? It's like you're running a company and yeah, okay, you hired these people, but you didn't pick them to be the leader for, right? So the leader must follow the followers. I know it sounds crazy. You don't get to pick your followers. So you have to let your followers talk. What are they saying? What are the followers saying? And then you can try and add your opinion and get everybody on the same team. But if you're going to be a leader and say, okay, everybody do this, not everybody's going to do it, right? We've got to let the followers voice their opinion, all right? And so your opinion, your idea should be a summary of what your followers say, All right. And that's part of the listening thing. Because look, you're the leader, and let's say you're in the army and the Chinese are up on that hill, and you're the leader, and you say, okay, everybody, you're going to follow me and we're going to go take the Chinese on that hill. They better love you. Because if I'm one of those people, I am not climbing that hill to go get those Chinese. Okay, it's not happening. Right? And so you have to be the summary of what your followers want. Yeah, otherwise, they're going to walk away. And finally, let your believers or your followers, sorry, believe you agree with them. Okay, because you can't say, you guys are nuts, I'm taking my ball and going home. Your followers aren't coming. Okay, so as a leader, you must follow your followers by leading. Does that make any sense? All right, it's not so simple. Look, if you are the CEO of a company and you decide we're going to do this, and first you have to get your senior managers to agree, and okay, we get the senior managers to agree, and then they have to get the middle managers to agree, and then the middle managers have to get the employees to do it. So we're going to run a pig farm, and I'm the chief farmer, and my senior managers, well, they're going to feed the pigs, and then the employees get to shovel the pig stuff. Okay, who volunteers, right? In other words, that's kind of how things work. So if you want your followers to be shoveling the pig stuff, then they better think you agree with them and you believe the same thing. Otherwise, they're not going to shovel the pig stuff. It's as simple as that. And so as a leader, you have to listen. All right. Because if you stop listening, they start walking. All right. This is the way it works. Now, if your followers will listen to you because you've listened to them, you're doing what they want to do, well, then you can get them to do almost anything. I mean, look at it. You can get people to do the craziest of things if they think you believe in them. They'll do almost anything. All right. And that's what you need. In other words, you have to have your followers believing in you. And you do that by making them believe you believe in them, whether you do or not. Okay, so that's the listening. Now, empathy, right? And this is, like I said, something I'm not strong in. We show consideration to our followers, right? We listen to their stories, right? We listen, and I mean we understand them, and we can relate to them. And if you have a similar experience, well, you can relate your experience to their experience, and now you build a sense of trust. All right. And so as a teacher, I need to have those stories, right? I need to be able to talk about the time this happened or the time that happened, so that you can relate and understand that, hey, I get it, right? I understand it. I'm dealing with this Korean lady, and she's all big. I was an immigrant, and I used to clean toilets, and okay, well, my wife's an immigrant, and when I was 12, I cleaned toilets. So, okay, I got something to relate. And, will she listen? No, because she's all about her immigrant story. The other thing we have to do is let people speak. Okay? Wait until your follower is done talking. Let them speak. And that's hard for me, to let people speak. because I'm thinking 4 chess moves ahead, right? And by the time they're done talking, I have it all solved. Okay. And that's a bad habit. Okay. You have to walk people through things. And of course we have to talk truth. People know when you're lying to them. All right. They know it. And so we use analogies to soften the truth. We create a story, right, an analogy that will explain what we mean without smacking them in the face. Okay. And that's one thing about the Vietnamese language. It's very direct. People talk truth, and sometimes it hurts. Okay. A good example, right? So your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you're talking, you just had a haircut or a stylist, and your hair looks awful. And this person cares about you. And they can say, hey, your hair looks awful. Or they can say, I see you've got a new style. What are you planning to do with that? In other words, that young girl in Alaska with Antony Blinken who talked to the Chinese and she had purple hair. Okay, that didn't work. All right. And instead of Joe Biden being empathetic, he simply said, fire her. What was she doing there with purple hair? He's an old guy. And then we have to share in the struggles of our followers. Look, if our followers are in the muddy river trying to help people, well, then you get in the muddy river too. All right, just take those nice shoes off first. But the idea is that you have to share in their struggles, or how can you be empathetic? I mean, how can you understand someone's bad luck story unless you have some bad luck too, right? You have to find this connection to people. And so you have to live the same life. You cannot sit in a castle on a hill and expect to understand all the people living in the grass huts by the river. Okay, they get flooded out every year. We have to share in the struggles. We have to get our hands dirty, and we have to show people that we're willing to suffer. Then they'll follow you. Okay. Yeah. So we talk about this emotional intelligence. Okay, when they first came out with this whole concept of emotional intelligence, I thought they were crazy. And now that I've lived with emotional intelligence for 20 years, I know they're crazy. Okay. Yeah, so we have to be able to understand other people's emotions. We have to be able to understand why people get triggered. Okay. So in America, we have this whole racist nonsense. So according to some people, I am a domestic terrorist because I'm white, I'm male, and I don't agree with Joe Biden. So that makes me a terrorist. Okay. Are you kidding me? Right. And they believe it. So now if I say something, I trigger an emotional response, not a rational one. So if I want to approach things rationally, I have to change the conversation because I don't want to make them angry. I don't want to make them emotional. Unless, okay, I do, right? So in other words, we can say things on purpose to make someone angry. Angry people make mistakes. And we may want a competitor to be angry. And so we have to have that emotional intelligence. But in order to work with everyone, okay, there are people that really care about an issue. And they're not wrong, but they don't think the way you do. And because of that, you have to be sensitive enough for the workplace. All right. And so we have to use those emotional triggers to move the process forward, right? Not go backwards. All right. And that's part of being a leader, right? We have to move people forward. Going backward is not an option. Right? It's just not, right? Forward, forward, forward. Grow, grow, grow. And how do we do that? How do we avoid upsetting people? You cannot always avoid it. And sometimes you have to upset someone to set them on a new path. And that's part of being a leader. That's understanding the emotions that are triggered as well as the facts that are pragmatic. All right. And so we have to balance that. The creativity one, we went over this in great detail. It doesn't, as I said, doesn't mean you're artistic or musically inclined or a super technical genius, right? It's being able to adapt ideas and functions. It's being able to look for new ways of doing things. Of course, we all say we have to look outside the box, right? Which is the established idea, right? Can we find an idea over here? And that's what makes Americans great, because we do that all the time. And that's what makes other countries jealous. Now the Japanese went and made it even better. Okay. So what the Japanese do, and you learn this in your management class, is they make these little changes, adapt little changes all the time, so that over a couple of years, they've got a bunch of big changes because they made all these little changes. So the Japanese have us beat. Got to work on that. And so not every leader is creative, right? So you have to have creative people around you giving you ideas, all right? And you have to be the leader to then take those ideas and make it into something. And so we come to the final soft skill. And this is one most people forget, okay? And you have to be a service-minded person, all right? And we'll talk about a couple people and how they were service-minded, all right? So every leader has to do service to their movement. We have to show the followers that we are part of the team. We have to show that we are not above them, okay? Because eventually they'll stop following us. So we have to support our followers by being with them, by working with them, and then we lead them, right? And so that's really a service-mindedness. In other words, you don't even question it. You don't say, why am I getting my feet dirty? Why am I in here working with the pigs? Okay. We just do it. All right. And you don't even think about it. And you see this in people. You see people like this. And so we have to help others outside our core group of followers. That's how we get new followers, right? We bring new people into the group by showing our followers we're willing to go outside the group and help other people. All right. And whatever that means. All right. And so, you guys learned a little bit about Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. And here's this lawyer, okay, from the UK. And he's walking around in his underpants and he's helping people. The guy's skinny as a rail, right? And he's out there working with the poor. Mother Teresa, another one. She's out there, she's working with the poor and she's leading a movement. Right? Gandhi was leading a movement. He liberated 1 billion people from the UK. I mean, that's something, right? He did something, right? And then we look at Ho Chi Minh, right? He's living in a small house and he's meeting with people, right? He's not living in a royal palace. He doesn't have 100 servants, okay? He's walking the talk, okay? And that's a big thing for people. People will go crazy to do stuff for leaders like that because their service mindedness, right? In other words, people follow other leaders because they're afraid. People follow these leaders because they love them. if you want your employees, the people following you, to love you, well, then you have to be service-mindedness. If you want them to fear you, okay, we can do that. We can get people to fear. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want, we get people to be afraid. We all learn Maslow, right? We understand that. But if you want people to truly love you, to work for you because they care about you, the owner or the manager, the leader, then they have to love you. And so you have to be service-minded. All right. So let's step back and let's look at some big picture issues. All right. And this is a question when you have doubt, when you lack confidence. Can I be a leader? And the simple truth is yes. Okay. Sure, one third of people are born leaders. They have that natural charisma. People are attracted to them. Maybe they're handsome or beautiful. Maybe they have a good way of speaking. Maybe everybody likes them, right? They have this natural inborn leadership quality. But that's not who the great leaders are. Look, being a leader is like being a mom. It's a learn as you go thing, right? Because some of you ladies are going to be moms. Some of you guys will be dads. There's no school for that, right? You kind of have to learn as you go. And that's what leadership is like. You learn as you go. You see what works for you. You adapt it, make it better, and you get more success. And we look at the great leaders in history. And a lot of times, they were the only person. In other words, we need someone to do something. And, it's the old Harry Potter thing where, okay, so whoever's going to be the leader, step forward, and everybody steps back, okay, except you. And so you're made the leader because of a situation. You're made the leader because of circumstances beyond your control. And you have to step up. And, well, some people step up and some people run away and hide. All right. And so then this person becomes a leader. They weren't born to it. And you can be a leader by learning, watching other people, adapting your soft skills, and then you can be a leader too. We can all be leaders. Not everybody wants to be a leader. But if you want to be a leader, you can be a leader, unless you're just the most obnoxious person there is. And even they can be leaders. So take a look at this. I just gave you a very short bit about that. And I know you've talked about it in your class, but it comes into the soft skill issue. And so the situation, there's a vacuum, people rise to fill it. They become the leader. And a year later, like, oh my God, I didn't plan this. I didn't prepare for this. And now I'm the leader. What do I do? The community has a need, right? And you get volunteered. They elect someone. Hey, let's get Chung. Chung can be the leader. And now Chung's the leader, right? And so we have a need, a product, right? The company needs to move that product forward. We need a leader, and they appoint a project manager. Well, now you're the leader. Well, I don't know how to do this. I don't care. You're the leader. Go do it. And so you don't have a choice, right? So you're forced to become a leader. And then, of course, on teams, right? People pick others to be the leader. There's a bad habit. Sometimes we pick the best person at doing the job to be the leader, and they're a terrible leader. All right. Sometimes we need the worst person at the job to be the leader. Okay, because they understand their failings, they understand their weaknesses, they understand how things have to work together. They're not a hot dog, as we say. So yeah, that's this whole sense there. So we have some great leaders, right? You guys have probably heard of Vladimir Putin. He's the guy running Russia. And what makes him a good leader? You know, what do you think? Is it because he's a handsome guy? Is it because he was in the KGB? Okay. Is it because he gives money to people and they do things for him? You know, what makes him a good leader? One of the things I can say is he has confidence. He's got a lot of confidence. And he responds to his followers. His followers don't want some weak, pasty face guy who says, "Oh, please don't hurt me. You know, I'm your leader. But please be nice," right? He's a tough guy, and Russians like tough guys. And so he's been the leader. Now he's been the leader a bit too long. Okay, so now he's moving into the whole dictator thing. So Putin needs to retire and stop being Putin. They need to give someone else a chance. And that's, of course, the problem. You give someone new a chance, they screw it up and say, "Oh, that was a huge mistake." We call that Biden. And so, yeah, Vladimir Putin, he's got a lot of good soft skills. He knows how to speak to the people, which means he's listening. Right? He's not just speaking to the people, he's listening. What do these people want? Well, that's what we give them, right? What they want. We don't give them something else. Okay, that would be stupid. So he's got the ear of the people. He's listening to them, right? And now he does policies they support, right? He's not going to do something else. That's just stupid. Okay. And then we have Xi Jinping. Gotta love this guy. He says, "Okay, I've been your president for 5 years now. I'm president for life." Okay. So Mr. Xi Jinping, yeah, this guy is a dictator. And so people follow Xi Jinping because they are terrified. They are absolutely terrified. Okay. This guy's not a good leader. And it's not because he can't accomplish things. He accomplishes things. His people are doing a good job, but they do it from fear. So the first time a replacement leader comes along, he's done, right? Because they'll get over their fear and they'll replace him. He's not the leader of the party because they like him. And so that's a dangerous way to lead. Hey, these leaders can lead for a long time. We had Stalin, another guy everybody was terrified of. Trotsky, oh my gosh, people were terrified of that guy until, well, Lenin killed him. Okay. And this is the problem when we have leaders. All right. So some leaders are listeners and their followers believe what they're doing. That's Ho Chi Minh. That's obvious, right? And other leaders, they lead from fear. And company CEOs, directors, they do this. The people are terrified of them. And so you're going to have to choose which kind of company you want to work for. One where everyone's terrified of the leader, or one where everybody loves the leader. And so that's not an easy choice, right? You may have to change jobs a couple times. Okay. Now let's talk about my leader, Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. Orange man. There are a lot of people that love Donald Trump. And there are a lot of people that hate Donald Trump. And there are very few people in between. Okay. I don't love Donald Trump. I don't hate him. He's just a businessman to me. But he was a terrible leader because he didn't listen. Did he get things done? Yeah, he was able to find people that could get what he wanted done. Okay. And in one sense, they did it from a sense of obligation because this is what they wanted to do. In the other sense, they were so terrified of the guy. One wrong word and they're fired, right? And so this guy led from fear. terrible fear, which is why he wasn't reelected. You can talk about the election fraud, okay, but people were so angry with this guy that they were willing to cheat and steal in order to get him out of office, okay? And it wasn't because they liked him, right? It was because they hated this guy. Now, I know Vietnamese love Trump because he's a little bit like Putin. He's a little bit like Duterte, or how do you say it in the Philippines. He's a strong man. He's a tough guy. He talked tough. And that's the problem. He talked tough. When it came down to actually doing something or implementing something, he was a little bit squishy. Okay. And so he didn't accomplish what he set out to do. And so I have those issues with Donald Trump. Now, why does that matter? Right? Well, we fail. And we learn from our failures. And if we don't learn from our failures, we're not going to be very good leaders or managers. So our failures need to improve our future performance. Right? And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. That's normal. Learn from it. Move on. Be confident. Okay? Because if you let your failures define you, well, that you're not going to have those soft skills of confidence and creativity. You're always going to be, looking over your shoulder so you don't make another mistake. All right. And this is where we need the feedback. Our after action review, that feedback, so that when we do the next project, when we do the next sales exercise, we don't repeat the same mistakes. All right. And that's important. So we have to look at failure as education. That's all it is. Learn from your failures. Learn from your mistakes. And then maybe you can move to that next level. Okay. And just to tie this all together a little bit, you probably don't know this, but I'm running for parliament and the election is May 1st. Okay. And so I'm one of 23 candidates running for a seat in parliament. And will I win? Probably not. And there are reasons for that. People may not know who I am. There are 23 candidates. So who do you choose, right? I don't have a lot of money at this time. And timing. It just may not be the right time for someone like me to then become successful. But why bother? And this is where failures, the mistakes I make, will then educate me for the next time. And so by May 1st, which is before this class ends, you guys will know, did I win? Am I going to parliament? Or did I crash and burn? Okay. And we'll know that when we see how many votes I get. I'm working hard, I'm campaigning, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing what you're supposed to do, but I need some luck, right? We all need some luck. And I'm hoping to make my luck, but there's no guarantee. And so you embarking on your next great thing, which is getting a job, becoming independent, doing all this, make the mistakes. Don't be afraid to make the mistakes. Don't be afraid to lose, because eventually you'll win. All right. So that's all I have. What questions do you have? I've gone Vietnamese. I don't know why. Right. What questions do you have? Let me bring up the participant thing here. I'm sure you guys have some questions. Let me give you my email. send me your questions. Send me your ideas. If somebody knows how I can win the election, I'm all ears. So yeah. Any questions?
Hey, students, do you have any question to Michael?
No, teacher.
No. Okay, so do you have a further, if you have further questions for him,
Got the email.
yeah, through email.
Yeah. So send me an email. And guys, look, you're not going to be experts at this, and I know I speak English, and maybe I talk a little too quickly for you. That's why we have the PowerPoints, and that's why you can follow up with an email. And good luck. And I'll see you guys in the next round when we do our leadership class. Okay?
Yeah. On behalf of all the students in this class, I would like to say thank you to you for a very useful, attractive presentation this morning. And I wish that you will have a good. Is this in the evening of in US?
Yes. Right now it's 10 o'clock at night. And I can't wait for the next class, which is at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, and good night. And good night. Okay.
You guys have a good time. All right. Enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you very so much. Okay,
Bye.
class. Okay, class.
Ciao.
Bye bye. See you.
Goodbye. Goodbye, teacher.